Apple just launched the iPhone 16e, and the response is complicated. At $599, it's positioned as a more affordable iPhone 16, but people have a lot to say about what's missing. And in this video, we're gonna break all of that down, all the negative sentiment objectively.
Today's video is brought to you by Brain.fm. It's focused music, it sounds great, it's science-backed, it really works. You can check it out for free using the link down below.
So one thing that's missing that people are freaking out about is MagSafe. That's one of the biggest surprises. This means no magnet-based charging, no official MagSafe accessories, and although not having MagSafe doesn't mean that you can't charge wirelessly, you are gonna be limited with this to slower Qi charging speeds. Got a lot of people who aren't happy that there's no ultra wide camera. So if you've come to love that 0.5x ultra wide look over the years, then this could feel like a step back. So iPhone 11 and newer users are going to feel like this could be a bit of a downgrade. There's also no dynamic island. This is where people are divided. Some love the dynamic island, feel like it's essential now, while others feel like the notch you see here is fine. The one thing that we can say for sure here is that for an iPhone in 2025, this is a notable difference. Now, while there is a new action button, there's no camera control button. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of the camera control button. A lot of people end up kind of dumbing it down anyways. So even though Apple is pushing AI-powered photography and visual intelligence here and calling this an iPhone 16, it does lack a lot of features that the other iPhone 16s, what you might call the actual iPhone 16s, have. Now, of course, Apple's not just cutting features randomly. For them, this iPhone has a purpose. At $599, it's not necessarily meant to be the budget champion, but for sure, it's designed to make the iPhone 16 at $799 look like a steal. This is a strategy called price anchoring. It's really nothing new. By offering a more limited version, Apple's trying to make the next tier up seem like a no-brainer upgrade. So for instance, if you find yourself debating between this and the iPhone 16, well, that's exactly the point. Now, a lot of people out there seem to be very frustrated with the pricing here. You know, the rumors led people to expect an iPhone SE or at least an SE successor closer to $500. But instead, this raised the entry-level price for new iPhones to $599. One of my favorite social media posts that I've seen about this so far said, $600 for no MagSafe, no ultra wide, no colors. Apple's financing team is who designed this. Want to upgrade your mental software? Get subscribed to my Saturday Signals newsletter. It's free, and I guarantee it'll be the most interesting and useful thing you encounter all week. Now we got to talk about the performance trade-offs as well, because it has one less GPU core than the iPhone 16. Also no Wi-Fi 7. So even though it has the A18 processor, there's also no ultra wideband. So that's different than the ultra wide camera. Ultra wideband having to do with connectivity. Now for everyday users, these things might not be that big of a deal, but still I think it's sort of the feeling people are getting, you know, getting gypped for the price. Design-wise, I mean, there's two colors. There's white and there's black. It has thicker bezels, uses a 60 hertz display. So there are some people who are viewing this as an SE upgrade. You gotta keep in mind, just because somebody's really vocal or a group of people are really vocal doesn't necessarily represent everybody out there. That said, lots and lots of people do seem to be disappointed and consider this a downgrade or maybe just downright offensive. I mean, if you're looking for a solid iPhone that has no extra frills, then I think you probably could buy this and be very happy, especially because we've been exploring this theme on the Daily Tech main channel, and I guess a little bit on this second channel here too, of, you know, we're kind of hitting a hardware ceiling, and maybe that's Apple's undoing, or maybe it isn't, because we do see hardware innovation in other companies and in other areas. We don't see it. We see more iteration coming from Apple, but even so, in the Apple ecosystem, we see a bit of a hardware ceiling happening, and a lot of the interesting AI things are happening in the cloud or off device, so the processor matters a little bit less. It depends what you're doing, of course. If you're going to be heavy into gaming, maybe that matters. Things like battery life are gonna matter differently to different sorts of users. But if you rely on MagSafe or that ultra wide camera, or if you need a dynamic island, if that matters to you for some reason, then you're gonna be better off going with an iPhone 16 or an iPhone 16 Pro. I would say, ultimately, the iPhone 16e isn't bad inherently, but it is just very different. And so Apple made some trade-offs. You have to decide for yourself if you think that it's worth it for you. Would love to hear your feedback about this. Watch the video on the first channel, Daily Tech 1. The original channel is linked up down below, so you can see a very thorough introduction to this phone, what it actually means through a bunch of different lenses, not just the obvious take like, oh, this is a budget iPhone. We've already examined it over on the first channel in lots of unexpected ways. So my best advice for you is, if you're actually considering this, go check that out. Don't buy any iPhone until you've seen that first video.